Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to On the Spot with David Rodgers, the live Facebook interactive show where you, the viewer, has total input on topics of discussion regarding any subject that includes commenting, talking, or debating. Not with just you, your host, but with each other. You control and run this show. We are just the rudder that steers this big old ship and vessel. This is a show that is wide open with no limits as we bring it to you first. We discuss breaking news, politics and business, sports, and other pertinent stories that affect our everyday lives. We serve the regional area to include Stark, Lake Butler, Keystone Heights, Palatka, Gainesville, Waldo, Lulu, Melrose, Brooker, Hampton, Middleburg, Jacksonville, and other surrounding areas. If there is a story to be reported or dissected, On the Spot is the first to handle it. We also discuss happenings in Florida as well as Georgia and other southeastern states. But now, let me introduce the show team, the guys who bring the move to the groove. First, behind the controls, with the video and audio, is our fill-in for our senior producer, Mr. Command and Control, the big dog, our executive producer, Super Dave Daredevil Holland. He is not with us tonight. He has an emergency he had to attend to, but his son, Dave Holland Jr. is with us tonight. Dave, say hello to everybody.
How y'all doing?
All right, all right. And joining him behind the scene, keeping the flow to the show, is our director, Michael, the Dragon Slayer Heater. Up next, our operations director and advertising marketing director, John Better Than Snow Spros. Behind the scenes, providing us with up-to-date information, our sports production assistant, Roger the Tornado Cruz. And our man with all things weather, Austin Storm Chaser Stevens. Say hello, Austin.
Good evening, everyone. And we got a roller coaster weather coming this week.
Good. And now my co-host, to my left, he is our historian and governmental whiz on national and world politics, Byron, fighting to help keep your freedom and rights Bagwell.
Good evening, infidels.
And to my right, with local news and breaking information, Mitchell, the American Scout, and your lookout on terrorism and anything else that doesn't belong or looks out of place, Gunter.
Good afternoon, everyone.
All right, and I'm your host, Mr. David Rodgers, the voice of the Bradford High Tornadoes, and
the show pony.
Welcome to the show, guys. We're coming to you live from the Bradford County Sheriff's Office. We want to thank our host, Sheriff Gordon Smith, and his great emergency management staff for their hospitality. Just a reminder about the new and improved ADO. So you, the viewer, has your say anytime a story hits near and dear to the hearts of our viewers, or you have questions or comments. We jump right in to ADO. This allows you, the viewers, to complete the control of our show while giving everyone equal opportunity to have their voices heard. ADO is audience-driven overtime, ladies and gentlemen. And now, before we dive into the show, it's time to recognize our sponsors, the companies and groups that allow us to provide the services that we do. Welcome to the Sponsor Spotlight. Providing some of the best cuts in town. Our very own Dave Holland and the rest of the fantastic team at Harry Business, home of the $8 cut. Located in the Deerfoot Village, open 7 days a week, 9 to 6 Monday through Saturday, and 12 to 4 on Sunday. Miracle Automotive and Towing in Stark and McClenny. Don't pray for a miracle, call Miracle at 904-368-1114. 24/7, 365 days a year for all of your towing and automotive needs. Williams Jewelry of Stark, open 9 to 5:30, Monday, Tuesday, Thursdays, and Fridays, 9 to 4 on Wednesday, and 10 to 4 on Saturday. Make sure you go see Vicky down there. On the Spot Lawn Maintenance, let the red, white, and blue take care of your green. We have your gutters and pressure washing covered and all sorts of yard maintenance needs. Just find us on Facebook or call me, 904-966-1633. Service First Mobile Small Engine Repair is McRae. Let Chuck Scarberry come to you. Call 904-703-5136 to schedule an appointment. How about one of these guys right here, some of our newest sponsors? Schuster and Sabin Law Firm out of Jacksonville, Florida, the home of Leonard Skinner. If you've been injured in an accident, visit www.pitlaw.com. And last but certainly not least, North Jacksonville, Complete Dentistry with Doctors Johnson and Baxter. They've got all your dental needs covered. Located conveniently on Dunn Avenue in Jacksonville. Call Dan Baxter at 1-904-751-4958 and mention OTS and get a 10% discount off your bill. How about that? If you would like to become one of our sponsors, call John Probst at 904-782-7101 or email the team at onthespot32091@gmail.com. And now it's time to get started with our prayer, pledge, and the patriotic quote of the week. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you'll please bow your head and let's go to prayer. Our righteous Heavenly Father, let us once thank again for a wonderful and glorious day you've given us, dear Lord. Thank you for this life that you've given us, dear Lord, that we can live it and live it within you, dear Lord. Thank you for the week that you're going to give us, the rest of it. Thank you for the food that we receive each and every day, as it goes to nourishment of our bodies and our bodies to thy service. Thank you, dear Lord, for letting us live in the greatest country in the world today, the United States of America, and the greatest fighting force in the world today, our United States Armed Forces. Keep a hedge of protection over all of us, dear Lord, and especially our armed forces, dear Lord, as they're going out to protect our rights and our freedoms of this great country, the greatest country in the world today, again, dear Lord, and the freest country, the United States of America. Any spoken prayer requests or unspoken prayer requests, dear Lord, touch each and every one of those individuals. Whatever their needs are, dear Lord, you know it, and you can make it happen. Thank you again for just allowing us to be able to do this show, to bring this show to our audience, dear Lord, and that you direct everything that happens within it. Keep a hedge of protections as we go throughout the rest of the week. And we ask for these things in your Son's name, Jesus Christ. And the congregation says, Amen. Amen. Let us stand for our pledge here. So, right. Let's see. John Probst, won't you lead us in the pledge, sir?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Amen.
All right, Mr. Bagwell, what do you have for us today?
Well, give me just 1 second and I'll get it to. Maybe I won't.
Okay.
That's great.
That's great. Well, anyway, John, do you got it already?
No,
Okay,
but I'll get the word and get that at the end.
Okay.
We'll just go ahead and go with freedom is not a gift granted to us by other men, but a right that belongs to us by the laws of God and nature.
That's a good one right there.
Benjamin Franklin.
Mr. Benjamin Franklin, you're exactly right there. So, again, want to thank everybody for joining us for On the Spot with David Rodgers. To my right is Mr. Mitchell Gunner. To my left is Mr. Byron Bagwell again. We are your hosts. Thank you again for joining us here on this beautiful Tuesday night. And, Mitchell, I did find out who your great-great-grandfather is. John Probst didn't even have to tell me this one. We've got this one. I've got it all under control. I already know who it is. Would you like to know who it is?
Sure.
Drum roll, please. Drum roll, please. Here we go. And your great-great-grandfather is none other than
One Coos?
sort of Bugsy Malone.
Bugsy Malone.
Yeah, Bugsy Malone.
They just keep on getting.
They just keep on getting further out there, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
What do you think about that one?
I don't think so.
I don't think. I mean, you look at me like.
Wait a second. Does that mean that his great-great-great-grandmother would be Maureen Brown then?
Ooh, oh yeah.
It could have been worse.
No, he couldn't.
You could
Not
have said
much.
Babyface Nelson.
Yes, I could have. Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought
We
you
don't
were
want
talking
that.
about Corrine Brown. I
Ooh,
was about to say,
Corrine Brown.
that
Yeah,
can't get
that's.
much
I
worse
was just
than
going to
that.
say. Ooh, John, where did you come up with that one, brother? My goodness, that one came up from the depths. Oh well. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining us. We're going to get right to it right here. We have a very special guest. We've been putting it all over Facebook since our last show. We've got a guy that we've been trying to get on for a little while, just trying to get some scheduling down. We want to bring our very own, the guy that makes it happen in the city of Stark, our chief of police for Stark, Florida, Mr. Jeff Johnson. Come on in, Chief. Yeah, come on in. Bring your seat right there.
How do need a taller seat than you.
You need a taller seat, and then why don't you switch on? You want to switch with
You're
Mr.
good.
Bagwell?
You're good, brother. You're good.
They'll just look up to you.
Yeah, just look up that. There you go. That's a good one, John. Drum roll again. But anyway, hey, we need to bring you in just a little bit right there. We're putting the camera right there. There we go. Chief, thank you for joining us on the spot with David Rodgers. And I know this is a busy time for you. You got a lot of things going on, but we want to first thank you for taking time to come join us on the spot with David Rodgers and to have a little conversation with us here. The very first question that I have, Chief, is for people that don't know you, because we do have people that watch outside of the area, all over the Southeast United States, by the way. Tell them who you are, how you became the chief, and all that good stuff. Just a little background about yourself first.
Well, I'm Jeff Johnson. I'm born and raised right here in Stark, Florida. Born at the Bradford County Hospital back in 1900. And
what was that again? I couldn't quite make that out.
1900.
Okay, yeah.
And, but born and raised here, love serving the people that I grew up with, friends, family. You know, I'm kin to most of Bradford County, and the ones I'm not kin to alike, and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
But just a lot of good things. Went to Academy in 1987. I'll give a little bit of that story a little later, but just love serving the people.
Right.
You know, people say I have the gift of gab, which helps me a little bit, you know. But I would just love serving the people and taking care of them and being in the position to do that.
Right.
And the people have spoke several times, 3 times, and been elected 3 times, appointed once.
Right.
So I feel like I have the confidence of the city of Stark.
I do believe as well. And any time that we go around, all we hear is great things about you and what you've done, what your police department's done. We know, you know, this is a small community, Chief, and
Yes.
we all know each other here. So not all seconds here, we're just talking about each other. Okay. So we got that right here.
Oh, yeah. What happened?
Got this right here. Got the boys basketball right here. So
I got the upcoming events.
oh
yeah, I'm good.
I think we're back.
I think so.
I just was trying to get back.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry we had just a little bit of a technical difficulty here, but hey, we're back on the spot with David Rodgers. I'm your host, David Rodgers. Sitting right along to my right is Mr. Mitchell Gunner. Sitting back to behind me right here right now is Mr. Byron Bagwell. We're your host, and we've got our special guest, Chief Jeff Johnson from the Stark Police Department. Chief, I'm sorry about that. We had a little, somebody must have cut the cable there, like you said, but hey, it is what it is. Hey, it's all good. So going back to your story there, tell everybody again how you got into this and a little bit of your background here for people that did miss it.
Born and raised here, and just being, like I said, being elected to take care of the people and being the voice of the people in the law enforcement side and protection and taking care of the people here. That's just what it's all about.
Yes, it is.
I love it. I love that part of it.
And you know, you've, Chief, every time I go out, I hear great things about you and what your staff is doing. I know you've seen police officers come and go for whatever reason. I know you get, for some of them guys, I don't even know because some of them are new to the force, but great police officers. And tell us a little bit about that, a little bit about the turnover that happens over there for whatever reason, promotions, things go on.
It's a challenge for a department my size. Through the budget, we were able to not increase our budget, but to adjust the budget to where we could change our starting salary to try to get competitive around here. We got so many agencies so close that pay so much more than us that we can't compete with them. I mean, if they don't have a working hard family with 2, they just can't make it on one salary.
Right.
With what we started salary, we've adjusted that and moved that up a little bit to where we could be more competitive. Commercial, we do have 2 openings, so we take applications. Come on down. If you're certified law enforcement, look for a job. I've got 2 openings, so come on down.
2 openings, and you'd love to have some applicants come in there.
Absolutely. We're just in the process. We're just in a location to where you got JSO, Clay County, Alachua County, UPD, Lake City. You get just agencies around. Even my sheriff pays more than I do. So I think I've lost 3 of the last 3 of the last 4, I believe, has come to the sheriff's office, which is great for him
Right.
and great for me because we
Y'all work together
so
anyway,
together.
y'all together and intertwined
I mean-
together. I don't know how many times when there's a call, Chief, and Mitchell can tell you as well, you'll see a Stark police officer and a Bradford sheriff right there together.
Absolutely.
Isn't that great how that
Well,
works out?
when something goes bad at your house or at a location here in Stark or Bradford County, they're not looking at the color of the car and they're not
Right.
looking at the
No.
color of the uniform. They're looking for help.
Right.
Or
Exactly.
they're looking for some assistance or something like that, protection, whatever it happens to be.
Right.
And that's what they're looking for, and that's what me and the sheriff try to make that go down from us.
Right.
I mean, we are only as good as the people we have working for us.
Right. So, all right, Mitchell, I know you got a couple of questions
Yeah.
for old Chief here.
So what made you want to get in law enforcement?
Well, back in 1987, my brother and myself were sitting in the old kitchen of the old house there on Lafayette Street, and the sheriff, Gordon Smith, was working for him and Chuck, my brother, that just retired from the sheriff's office. They walked into the kitchen of the old house and decided they were going to the police academy. Well, I was working at the recreation department for the city of Stark, so I said, well, when is this class? And they said, it's at night. And I said, well, can I go? And they said, yeah, you can go. And that's how this happened. Along with my Harold Cruz was the assistant chief for 19 years for the city of Stark Police Department.
Right.
I mean, I was in it a lot. I have an uncle that's up in West Virginia, in Kermit, West Virginia, that was the sheriff up there of Mingo County. So
Well, how many years do you have in law enforcement?
I started, Jimmy Bowen hired me December the 23rd of 1987 is when I was hired under Jimmy Bowen. So I'm going to let y'all figure that out, the math.
Well, you didn't want to tell your age a while ago, so I don't know if I
things
want
happen.
to. I hear you. Let's just say a long time, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
What has been the most challenging event that's happened since you have been in law enforcement?
I'm going to say events, and that's the death of children. I've seen a bunch of those. Too many.
Yes, sir.
I've seen too many of those. Either through accident, intentional, just horrible scenes. Been to too many of those kids and children death scenes.
Right.
Those just
Those are the
tear
ones
me
that
up.
don't let you.
Those tear me
They're
up.
always in the back of your mind.
Always there.
And,
I can remember every one of them.
Wow.
What do you see in the near future for your department?
I really honestly see growth. I mean, I know everybody's talking about City of Stark kind of dying back and set back. I just call this a reset. I mean, I think the City of Stark City Commission, I think they're going to have to, they've got tough decisions to make. Our county commissioners have tough decisions to make here in the next 2 or 3 years. You got to understand, they're fixing to put a pile of money in this little old town, replacing the bridge, doing the overpass. They're going to be working on Orange Street. All this is going to start occurring here in the next 4 or 5 months.
And plus, we got all the construction that's going to be going on at the Keystone Airport for
Huge.
businesses
There
to go in
is such an opportunity for this. And I realize I'm one of those people that, I want my little Stark and I want my Bradford County here. Guys, I'm telling you, those days are going to pass by us, and they're going to pass by us, and we're going to be sat here holding nothing.
Well, my whole thing is I want our community to grow, both city and county, because by doing that, bringing in bigger businesses and putting more people that live here in Stark to work instead of having to drive out of town, it keeps the tax base here.
Absolutely.
And that right there helps all the departments, helps your department, helps the sheriffs, helps the school system. And I think that's the way that we need to
We
go.
are very fortunate to have agencies that work together as close as they do right now. Yeah,
Right.
we got our own, me and Gordon will sit down and we'll go over a situation.
Sure.
We may not agree, but when it all comes down to it, we're going to work together.
Right. And that's what I like about it. Like I said, every time that I whether there's a car accident or what happened the other night, we'll get into that here in just a second. Like I said, it's a dual effort. I'll see a Stark police car and I'll see a Bradford County Sheriff's car.
Let me tell you something. We're not going to be not throwing any darts or any party affiliations or anything.
Right.
But the confusion and the aggravation that's going on in the Congress, if we was doing that here, we would get absolutely nothing done.
Nothing done. You're
We've got
exactly
work
right.
to do.
That's a
Me,
good
the
place.
sheriff, the council, the commission, all of us have a lot of work to do. We have a lot on our plate. The sheriff runs this year. Not only is he having to run the sheriff's office and everything else, he's having to run for an election. I run next year, so there's just a lot going on.
And it seems like it's continuous.
And the next 5 years, it's just going to be incredible what's going to be offered to the city of Stark and Bradford County, because Bradford County can't breathe without Stark, and Stark can't survive without Bradford County.
Right.
That's just the way it is.
Right. They go hand in hand.
That's just the way it is.
That is exactly correct. What is the largest type of crimes that you see happening in the city of Stark?
Probably prescription medication. Probably the most harmful right now is meth.
Right.
That's don't have a lot of stats to throw at you, but from what I see and what my guys talk about, we have, I think last year, if I bring the stat right, we had 5 or 6 heroin busts last year.
Are you also
My guys did.
Any cases with fentanyl?
A very few. And let me warn you, if you happen to be around anything that you think that is fentanyl, you need to get away from it.
You better avoid it, because it doesn't take very much to kill you.
We're having to equip not only
It'll absorb through your skin.
just close to this city, to our city, there was, I think, 3 or 4 firefighters exposed, a deputy, couple of police officers, just from trying to help this man medically. And then it exposed them all. I mean, this stuff is serious. This stuff is very serious.
Yes, it is.
It will kill you.
Yes.
Yep. And then my last question for you is, what is your feeling about the Second Amendment?
Very pro Second Amendment. I believe a law that's preventing law-abiding citizens from having a gun is taking it out of the citizens' hands. You're not going to take it. A law, an ordinance, something wrote on a piece of paper is not going to pull the gun out of a robber.
Right.
Somebody forcing it on someone like that. It's not going stealing a gun. That kind of stuff. It's just not going to. I mean, I just feel that we should have the right to defend ourselves.
Right.
And I hate it, but the gun is one of those opportunities that you may need to defend yourself.
Right.
Hopefully not.
Right. And a lot of us, we don't want to have to kill nobody.
I've been in law enforcement enough, and I've been shot at 3 times. I've never had to return fire because of de-escalation. It went down. Thank God. It went down. Been shot at 3 times. But then you turn around, and I've got 2 officers. They were here less than 2 years, and he was involved in 2 shootings.
Yeah,
so you just never know.
Right.
You just never know when that's going to happen.
Right. Yeah, and no one wants to kill anybody. No one wants to.
Absolutely not.
But when it comes to a life and death situation, it's either you or the bad guy.
Right.
And
do I believe in the background? I think the background is good. I think there's some things that we can fix and tweak, just like everything. We can't get it absolute. No law is absolute.
Right.
But we can get it. We can get to where the backgrounds are lawful and not infringing on somebody's rights, but allowing them to carry a gun if he wants to. And then there's laws to say, hey, if you're going to carry a gun, you've got to be responsible. If you're not going to be responsible and held responsible, then you don't get to carry that gun anymore. And that's what I feel.
And again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to On the Spot with David Rodgers. If you're just now tuning in, we've got Chief Jeff Johnson here with us from the Stark Police Department. We have Mr. Mitchell Gunner right here to my right, Mr. Byron Bagwell right behind us here. We've been talking to the chief and asking him several questions. If you've got something that you want to ask the chief or you want us to present to the chief, if you can't get it on here on the comments column, please make sure to go to John, to where? On the Spot? 32091 at gmail.com. So you can do that, and we'll get it to the chief, and we'll get you an answer just as soon as we can. Chief, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us. I would like to ask you if you'd stick around for this little thing that we do, what we call the Q&D. We like to call it the quick and dirty. So, yeah, well, that's just some of the stories that we bring up just to give the audience a little preview of what's happening in case they didn't hear it. And Mitchell Gunner, our local guy here, as you know, he goes into it a little bit further if he has, or if not, he goes into other local subjects. So, want to start off with this one right here that you probably are currently involved in. So let's take a read at this. Start police are actively searching for Mr. Robert Allen Thomas, white male, date of birth, January 9th, 1988, for the attempted murder at the Whiskey River Saloon on January 25th. Mr. Thomas is alleged to have stabbed the victim in the back during an altercation and fled the scene. He is considered armed and dangerous. So if you know the whereabouts of Mr. Thomas, do not approach or try to apprehend. Call the Stark Police Department or Bradford County Sheriff's Office at 911 or 904-966-6161 and provide a clothing description, location, and vehicle description if you have one. Chief, do you want to add anything to that with what we said right there?
Absolutely. He needs to come in. He needs to turn himself in. He can call me. He can call the sheriff. He can call someone if he's scared about what the circumstances is. I understand, but he needs to come in and get his day in court.
Right.
I mean, things happen. People make bad decisions, but we need to move on. He don't need to make this go any further and any longer. It don't need to fester any. You know what happens when things fester? Right. He don't need to let this fester. He needs to get a hold of someone that he has confidence in. If it's me, if he has confidence in me, he can call me personally, and I will meet him somewhere, and I'll bring him to the jail.
Right.
But we need to get this process started. He needs to turn himself in.
Mr. Thomas, if you're listening to this show, or if anybody that's affiliated with Mr. Thomas, please, you heard it right here from the chief. Just as sincere as he could be. If you're scared that something's going to happen and don't want an altercation, the chief just said it right here. You can call him or whoever Absolutely. It is you feel comfortable with. Call them, and I'm sure that they will meet up with you wherever you need to do, just so you can get yourself turned in. And as Chief said, get your day in our court system. So please, Mr. Thomas, we urge you to turn yourself in if you are listening to this show or anywhere around anybody that is listening to this show.
Oh, we got some questions for the chief.
Oh, we do? Okay. Let's take one here. Is that Mr. Voss, Sarge? You're legally considered an adult at 18. They should have all the rights and privileges as such, including firearms.
I believe the legislation is changing to 21. Is that right, or has it
Yes,
changed
that is correct.
to 21?
I believe it already has.
It already has moved to 21,
Yes.
right?
Some of it, yes.
Some of it.
I believe you have to be 21 to buy an AR, and I want to say they were working on doing that with the automatic pistols.
There's a discrepancy between 18 and 21. My personal opinion, I believe 21 is not a bad age to start that. I believe we're incredibly lenient when we allow kids to drive a vehicle at 16 years of age. We give them the responsibility of driving a vehicle at 16. That's awful young. A lot of responsibility in a vehicle at 16 years of age. You get a kid, if your birthday falls right, you could be 18 years of age and be in high school still because of our school dates and stuff like that.
Right.
I just believe the age 20. I'm a believer in the age 21.
Right.
I don't have a problem with the age of 21. I realize at 18 you're an adult, you become responsible, but we do have, like in the military, I had a gentleman come to work for me, and he literally could not buy his own bullets. So we had to buy his bullets, so he was not old enough. So there is reasons for 18 years of age to have the firearm, but I just think for a civilian, 21 is you're starting to show a little more responsibility at 21 than you are at 18. I can promise you at 18. At 18, I was very limited on the because I was enjoying my 18 years of age.
Of course.
Oh, we all did.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit of difference between now and then, because I remember running around the yard with a 22.
Right.
Well, back in my day when we went to high school,
We could carry the bag.
you left high school, and if you didn't have football practice, baseball practice, something like that, you went to the woods.
Right.
You ain't got the tree stand.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Nothing was ever said
Nothing.
because
The
of our
guns were in
circumstances.
gun racks
Right,
in
so back of the
trucks.
trucks.
Because of our circumstances and what has happened now, we have had to regulate that. We have had to fix that.
The other
Dave,
question was
yeah.
on West.
Right here. How much longer will
West
barricades be on West Madison Street? They have been there redirecting traffic to new lanes since October. Any guess when?
Yes, we were told, our utility director, we were told that the posts were supposed to have been set Monday week. All the parts didn't come in on the post, but they can't do anything else until they set the posts, and all those gray
Right.
hoses pipes coming out of the ground.
Right.
All that's got to be fixed before they can do anything to the road.
Right.
They're hoping to have that started around, I'm saying the 10th of February
Okay.
is the next. That's a DOT controlled thing, so we really have to just tolerate them.
Right.
I mean, I get very frustrated with DOT, but
Me too.
they set guidelines to the
No,
to the
not you.
contractor, and we made sure Manager Bob Milner and them have made sure that we have held them to those guidelines.
Right.
And that's just what we have. But
Well,
hopefully, middle of February, end of February, you'll start seeing what they call the friction coat go down and poles set
Right.
and all that fixed.
Now, where those manholes and stuff, they're going to bring them up more to grade.
You'll see the
Grade to be
difference
better.
is the friction coat. They've got
Right.
all the pavement done.
Yes.
They'll come back with a friction coat, which will be flat with the manholes.
Okay.
It won't be the bump to bump,
Right.
all that.
Yes.
Dwight Allen said, could you go back a minute, Dave? Go back to Dwight Allen's comment. Thank you, sir. Right there. I believe if I can serve your country at 18, you should be able to drink, smoke, and have a gun. That's from one of our viewers there, Chief.
And that's what we just discussed. I mean,
right there.
I don't say no, but an 18-year-old right now, do I know that every 18-year-old out here, you put 20 18-year-olds in a room and let them start talking, and you'll say, maybe they don't need. It's just these kids are different right now.
Yes,
The kids
they are.
I'm hiring right now
Right.
they're not very personable because they haven't been made to.
That's
The
correct.
computers have stopped communications. I used to have 20, 25 hit of kids in my living room every week, every night, and they would watch a movie and text each other in the living room.
It's-
So
it's just-
they don't have to communicate.
Right.
We've got to teach our kids to communicate.
Right.
They're not showed how to write anymore.
Mhm.
They're,
Everything's done on a computer. Homework,
It's-
everything is
the
done.
communication skill
Yeah,
is,
not bad.
and I'll tell you, I wasn't very good at it and still ain't very good at it, but reading and comprehending is the best skill you could learn in school, period.
Right.
I
There's
agree.
nothing you can do in this world without reading and comprehending what you are reading.
Well,
Right.
speaking of the firearm situation, when we were young, we lived in the woods or we lived on farms, and so we had the freedom to do that. And like you said, kids don't do that no more with their parents. They'd rather sit home and play on the Xbox than to go hunting with their dad.
Well,
Right.
And they don't get
It's-
that learning.
it's just a different era.
It's a different era. It's the way.
It's just different. And it's not that I don't want to think we're bashing the kids that are growing up now. I got a complaint the other day of, I went by your officer the other day and he didn't wave. This generation don't do that.
Right.
We pass each other. It's
Yeah.
a, hey
Yeah.
man, what's going on? Hey, you wave or whatever.
Right.
These kids don't do that.
No.
Or how about when we all see each other at some gathering, we'll go and hug
Oh,
each other's neck
absolutely.
or shake hands.
They'll
Hey,
text
brother.
each other.
Yeah, they'll text
Right.
each other to
Instead
do
of
the same
shaking hands.
thing.
They'll
It'll
walk
be
by them and then
It'll
text
be
them.
Two for each other.
That is crazy. John, did you have something that you wanted to say?
Well, I think the whole gun thing. I mean, in this area, it's not as much of a problem.
Right.
Where I grew up in Jacksonville.
Oh, that's a problem. Yeah.
Back in the middle of the north side.
Oof. Yep.
So the more and more gun laws per se that they make in Jacksonville, and the more and more enforcing that they do, is good because then you have less children that are apt to. I mean, you have less 4 and 5 year olds getting access to a gun and accidentally firing it off.
Right.
There was a span in Duval County where there was one every couple weekends. And yes, it doesn't happen as much around here, but when you think about it, you can't necessarily enforce that in Duval County and not somewhere else. So you have to find out
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
where the line of consistency is. So do we say, oh, well, everybody can just do whatever they want with a gun and then take the setback of losing all of these children that are accidentally playing with them? Or do we raise the standard a little higher and say, this is what you have to do, and if we piss a couple people off.
And it's not only raising the standards, it's raising the responsibility of that. If you're going to have a pistol and some ammunition and something and then you have to be responsible enough to make sure it's locked, to make sure it's put up. There's different things that you can do to be held responsible.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we make bad decisions every day. Good people make bad decisions. Bad people make good decisions.
And I think, one of the reasons why we do see kids getting harmed with firearms now is because they make it where it's kind of like, oh, we can't do this. And when they should be like, take the child in there, show them the gun, explain that gun can kill somebody.
Yes.
Let them know how it works. And to me, they'll lose interest more that way by teaching them than not even addressing it at all. And I think that's where a lot of our situations get in, where kids start playing with firearms and shoot their sibling or something like that.
And we've had several, I know in Duval County, we've had several 5, 6, 7-year-old kids.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't, when they see it on TV and they see it in these video games, they really don't apply it back to reality.
Right.
I mean, one, I think it was a 6 or 7-year-old shot a 8 or 9, 10-year-old. And he was probably thinking, this is my water pistol out
yeah,
there
play gun,
and pull the trigger on it.
And boom.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing that I see a lot is parents like to buy their 6 and 7-year-olds the plastic pellet guns.
Right.
If you put that next to a pistol, I don't care how trained your eye is. If you just look at it for a glance and you look back up, you don't know which one really is not.
No,
Now, they're in
definitely
your
not.
hand, you know by the weight of them.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're looking at two of them, you don't know the difference. So what's the difference between mine and mommy and daddy's that's on the top of their dresser?
Right. Right.
I've thought about this. This is something I've really thought about. I've thought about any time a manufacturer makes a toy gun of any kind, a replica of a 9mm, a replica of a 45 caliber, anything like that, it cannot be black.
I think it's
I like that too.
yellow
Yeah.
or orange.
It has to be yellow, orange,
Yeah,
blue,
blue.
green.
Yeah.
If it's a toy gun,
Yeah.
it has to be a different color than a black.
I agree.
That's just a suggestion.
Donald, what you got, brother?
I actually picked up 2 CO2 air pistols at a gun show of all places. These are BB guns. They have removable magazines that hold the CO2 cartridge. They have fake bullets in the top of the magazine.
Right.
You would look at this gun by weight and appearance and never think it was a BB gun.
Oh,
To the point, I had a guy at the gun show see me walking with him in a case, and he goes, "What do you got in the case?" I said, 2 SIGs. I opened it up. He says, "I want to buy them." I'm like, "Sir, they're BB guns." They are.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
We've seen
It makes a
Yeah.
dangerous
We've seen them.
situation,
It does.
especially for law enforcement, because a lot of times you only have a split second
Yes, it is.
to make
That
that
is.
decision.
Yes.
And that makes it really
We
hard
had a
for law
robbery here that
enforcement.
was done with a
With
it was a little BB gun.
Yeah.
It was a BB gun.
What you got,
And
Rod?
that's where the education comes in with the kids.
Right.
You have to teach your children that when a law officer, a law person tells you a command, you do that command because it can save your life.
Yeah.
It really can.
How
Just the respect needs to come back.
Yeah. What you got, Rod?
how about the kid get out like the kid come out with a fake gun, the officer not know it's a fake gun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
that's
got a
what I'm
lot of
saying.
that. That's what we're saying.
It
That's
puts
what we
law
were just talking
enforcement-
about. Yeah,
it
put
puts
y'all in
law
a bad
enforcement in a
spot,
bad
bad
spot.
situation.
Because
Especially lighting and everything in
You
the
got
dark.
Yeah.
a
It's horrible.
split second to make a decision.
Nothing could be good out of that. Nothing could be good.
No.
out of that.
Right.
I mean, you think you're running down a dark alley, Chief, if you're chasing somebody and you say freeze and the guy freezes and he turns around and he's pointing something at you, and you know what I'm saying? And that's exactly right. So, boop, 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 boop. It is ADO. I'm sorry, right in the middle of that. John was just looking at me. We are in audience-driven overtime. Chief, you probably going, what the heck's going on? Y'all guys are driving this conversation. We got Chief Jeff Johnson right here from the Stark Police Department. We're in audience-driven overtime. We're going to get to your comments here in just a second, but I wanted to get back to that real quick. And, you know, you boom, you pop off a couple of rounds, you hit the guy in the chest, right? Dead chest. Unfortunately, he's deceased, passed away. You go down there and you start investigating, and the guy just pulled out a plastic BB gun on you. I mean, what are you supposed to? That's horrible. What are you supposed to do? Who's going to live with that? And that's exactly, I think that's what John and everybody was saying with that.
You better believe it.
Yeah.
That is the worst part.
That is the worst part of the job.
Going to have to live with that for the rest of their lives.
And not your family though.
One other note on that, we also become a society that fears guns and everything else. When I noticed my children were interested in them, and my grandchildren were wondering what they were, they see my guns when they're out on cleaning them. I took them out at 3 years old and 5 years old and taught them gun safety.
Absolutely.
That's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to shoot, we'll go out and shoot.
Yeah.
You will be taught the proper method
Right.
of safety with the firearm.
Right.
It's not something that
Comes with a responsibility.
Of owning
You have a
it.
responsibility, and I take them out and they go shooting and have a blast.
I'll give you a quick situation happened with me and my dad when we went hunting. We're out in the woods and we're talking to a gentleman over there at the hunting reserve over in Union County. So we're there talking with him. My gun's on safety. It's pointed at the ground. It hits my jacket, the trigger, and it shoots double up buckshot, and it goes right by my dad's leg. Now, without that training and knowing what to do with that firearm, I would have been toting it any old way. I could have had it up like this, and it touched my jacket, and I could have killed my father.
We call it muzzle control.
Right.
Yes.
So you always keep that
You know where the
firearm down.
muzzle's pointing at all times.
Exactly. And it saved my dad's
I
life.
guarantee you
Yeah.
can find 1,000 people that's happened to,
Right.
and some of them will tell you, I don't know how the trigger was pulled.
Right.
Right.
I know the gun went off, and I
Yeah.
know the trigger was pulled, but I don't really understand how the trigger was pulled.
And it was on safety, and it was still on
Absolutely.
safety. The safety
Mhm.
failed on the
It
shotgun.
happens. And it happens.
So that's why you always
Muzzle
want
control.
to muzzle down.
All right, I want to keep moving on here. Let's get to a couple of more comments, Chief. Most of these are for you right here. Now, my son was a few months out from buying his first. Now he has to wait longer. Agree to disagree, he says, but he bought his first at 18.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
The world isn't
would not-
it's not the same as it was
18.
back then.
I'm not going to bash them for the 18.
Right.
My personal opinion, I believe 21. Let them get to 21, but 18, I understand. I understand the argument for 18 years of age.
Right. Kevin, I really appreciate that. We love having the chief and the sheriff and anybody else that
Thanks
we
for
can
the
get on.
conversation.
And yeah, this is great conversation. And like I said, we just thank you for coming on. And like I said, we thank the chief and the sheriff and whoever else has been on here to include himself as one of our guests. So yeah, thank you very much. We appreciate that. Noah says, what's that at 21?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
smoking at 21.
Dave, if you could bring that down, that comment thing
believe
is
that
right
is
away,
national.
Dave. I
That's
think Dave.
national now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mr. Chief
smoking
is
is
smoking is
21.
21. Yes. So everybody else that's on that we couldn't get their names to, God bless you. Thank you for joining us. You know who you are. We're just trying to scroll through the comments. Chief's got a busy night and a busy day ahead of him. We want to try to get him in here, answer your questions, and get him back to what he needs to be doing, and that's protecting and serving our great community.
Glad to do it.
So,
Glad to do
yeah.
it. Oh, well, real quick thing. I think today was the anniversary for the Challenger.
Yes, sir.
Yes, it was.
So we
We're gonna-
still need to keep that family in our prayers.
That was at 11 o'clock is when it took off.
I watched it.
And
Yes.
I remember that. I was in middle school,
Mhm.
and I was helping in the library, and we turned it on the TV, and I got to see it.
Yeah.
So,
I was
But
standing.
just something to throw at you. But thank
Yeah.
you very much. Thanks for the
Oh, you're
invitation.
okay for a minute.
Thanks for the conversation.
Yes,
I
sir.
have one more thing that might be good for some of our viewers. What do you say to the parents that use police officers as a striker of fear to put in their children?
Well, I
Great question.
kind of, very good question.
Yeah, great question.
You know,
Mind you, I
because
work here, I
if
get
you don't
calls about
behave,
this
the
all the
police
time.
is going to take you to jail and stuff like that. Well, you know, I play it off sometimes. I'll tell you, yeah, you can go with me because we'll go ride four-wheelers and fish and stuff like that. And I said, I play it off like that. But you know, they need to understand that when that kid gets a little older, he's going to think, well, we're not there to just put you in jail and arrest you and take away your rights and everything. We've got a lot of policies and a lot of laws and a lot of stuff, ordinances that protect people and their rights. We have a large, the case that we're working now that we just discussed. A lot goes in for us to get as far as we were on that case.
Absolutely.
That gentleman is a suspect, but that gentleman has rights.
Absolutely.
That's right.
So we have to make sure his rights are not violated. At the same time, we think he has committed this crime.
Absolutely. I mean, and the side of police cars, law enforcement cars, say to serve and protect.
Absolutely.
Not to kill and arrest.
Right.
Exactly.
And we love serving.
Yes.
The protecting is all part of it, but we like the serving part. Now, I've tried to put that down from me down. Now, some people are people persons and some people are not people persons.
Mhm.
The worst statement you could tell me as an employee is look at me and say, well, I just can't stand people. Well, then you can't be a Stark police officer. Because you're going to see a bunch of them. That's part of it.
That's pretty good.
This conversation about fear, I think it ties into the whole deal with firearms as well. Because if you are taught to be afraid of a firearm, and you're taught to be afraid of a police officer, look at what's happening to the kids that are growing up in the United States today. Their way to overcome their fears and what everyone's telling them is to stand up to them. So now these kids are not following instructions when a police officer is giving them to them.
Right.
They're standing up and saying, well, I've always been told to be afraid of you, so we're going to see who's going to win this.
Yeah.
And they're doing the same thing with firearms.
That's a good
Which is why
point.
people are getting hurt.
You know, one thing that we like to do, Chief, is one night, and I know we don't have time to do it tonight, but go over protocol, what someone should do when they get pulled over for speeding or a traffic violation.
I can give you real quick scenarios. I've talked to my guys about this, and the sheriff has talked to his guys about this. We're fortunate because of where we are. But you got highway patrol, you got places to where you're going to get pulled over, and it's dark.
Right.
If you're pulled over, or if someone is trying to stop you and the car is unmarked, we have unmarked cars.
Right.
And if the car behind you is unmarked and it's not clearly marked beside the red and blue or the blue lights, then you're to drop to the speed limit, just under the speed limit, turn your flashers on. Now, there's no law, there's no golden rule about this.
Right.
Turn your flashers on and go to the next intersection or somewhere that is lit or where somebody is at, if you're that scared.
And the officer probably likes that as well because that gives him or her
Our guys know
well.
it, and there's a lot of FHP, and I'm hoping FHP is saying this, that if they drop their speed, it's not going to be a pursuit anymore at that point. You drop your speed to the speed limit, just under the speed limit. You go to the next intersection. You get off. You pull into a store where somebody's there at the store.
Right.
I would want my family to do that.
Absolutely.
If they felt scared on an unmarked car.
Right. And I think what they should do is also teach this in driver's ed, protocol, what you should do, like keep your hands on the steering wheel, don't reach for nothing.
Right.
I pulled a gentleman over. First thing he did, turned his car off, rolled his window down, and put his hands with his keys in his hand up the window.
I do the same thing.
Yep.
I mean, I've done that. Me being law enforcement, sometimes I have a badge on the dash or something like that, and I forget, that I am I know you don't believe it, but I forget that I'm in a police car sometimes when I'm driving my expedition. And there's some times that people look at you and stuff like that, but there's things you can do. Try to always obey the police officer. If the police officer ask you to get out of the car, he's asking you to get out of the car for a reason. If he asks you to stay in the car, then stay in the car. But don't make sudden moves. Don't agitate the situation already over, because the officer wants to go home safe too.
Right.
Right.
And usually, depending on the situation, if you show kindness back, I'll give you a situation. I got pulled over a long time ago, coming back from Middleburg, and we just got finished tuning my car. Is an old Mercury Cougar, that drag race. Well, I was running across those little hills coming back toward Camp Bland, and I wasn't paying attention to the speed limit, and I passed a state trooper. Well, I looked down and I seen I was speeding, so I pulled on off the road. I turned the car off, had the window down, already had my license, registration out. He pulls up there, he gets my license. He says, "Can you be honest with me?" I said, yes, sir. He says, was you wearing that seatbelt when you went by? I said, no, sir, I was not wearing a seatbelt. He said, your honesty just got you out of a speeding ticket. But he said, I'm still going to give you one free
Seatbelt. I'm still gonna give you one.
But hey, trust me, the seatbelt ticket was cheaper
Cheaper
than
than
yeah.
but cheaper than that.
I got one more thing.
Yes, sir.
What about, what the option is about you work with the people at which river, what the option is? You shut it down for you or you let them open?
No, they can operate just like, there's nothing wrong with the operations of Whiskey River. It actually occurred outside of Whiskey River.
I just make
So yeah, it was a crime scene for a little while, and we're going to control that crime scene long enough to get the evidence that we need, and then we're going to turn it back over to the owners, and the owners.
It's up to them.
Yeah, it's
well,
up to them. I mean, it was outside. It wasn't
I'm
inside.
not bombing like the police checkpoint. He said, okay, that guy is not happy inside.
Wouldn't matter. I don't think it would matter
Oh,
whether it happened inside or outside,
But
would
you
it?
have it inside.
Everybody could get involved,
Yeah,
is what
until
you're saying.
This is any
right.
crime now. This is
Yeah.
any crime. Any crime is once the crime scene is such as the horrible situation with the helicopter crash
Yes,
in California. That is a crime scene.
right.
That is a crime been committed? Don't know, but that is a crime. They're gonna hold that place secure, just like we did the parking lot of Whiskey River. Now we did check inside. We have to be very thorough. There's a lot going into this to get to where we're at in that case.
Well, do
Right.
you not get involved with it?
No. You do exactly as ordered by the police
That's
officer
awesome.
to keep you safe. He's doing something to keep you safe. That's what he's telling.
Like, I mean, but do you get involved with it or not? Or just
The news.
He's talking about the news agencies.
Oh, I'm sure the news
Yeah, I'm
agencies are
sure.
gonna be
We're
calling.
sure of that.
I just
I'm
make
sure I got a couple of interviews to do tomorrow.
Anyway, let's get on to a couple here. Randolph Denny here, I believe that's Roger's sister, says, I got a old homeless man here at IHOP. Can anyone help him? Called dispatch, and they said they don't have nothing here in Bradford County to help with homeless people. We fed him. I got him a tent, has no kids or family. Is there anyone else that can help him in any kind of way? Mr. David, he must be at least 70.
We're
We've
running
got
got several.
Mhm.
We got quite a few in town now. I'm not sure. They're saying some of them's coming from the transition house. I don't know that for a fact, but I just know we've got some. Every time I go into Gainesville, there's some
Yeah.
right there at 39th and Waldo
They're
Road.
all over the
Yeah.
place in Gainesville.
Truly, we've tried our best not to what I call taxi the homeless different
Right.
places and stuff like
Right.
that. I don't feel the taxpayers is wanting us to taxi these people to Gainesville or
Right.
Jacksonville because we have no homeless shelter.
Right.
Right.
If you know
That's
of,
what we know.
of somebody that's running that way that could take him to Gainesville to the
Dignity
Uh,
Park.
Dignity, yeah.
and the other one.
oh,
I know what you're talking about.
I know which one you're talking-
The other one is either.
I can't
the-
think.
the house-
Salvation Army.
Army.
Well, they got the other place right there on Main Street.
That halfway
Yes.
house right there or whatever.
So,
Yeah, and
That's
they've
sort of-
got several in
St. Thomas,
Yeah.
but St. Francis House.
Okay,
They've got
yeah.
several in Jacksonville, but we try to do our best to help them when we can. Thank God they fed them. You know, we got great people here in the city of Starkville
Yes,
County
we
that take
do.
care of people.
Yeah, we
But
do.
I don't really have an answer to that. I mean, I'm answering for you now because they've talked to you, but I don't.
Right.
The police officers, we just cannot do the taxi services to the homeless people.
Right.
I'm really confronted with the situation. Several places we have homeless people staying right now, and we're just trying to figure out what to do. You know, do you run them off? Where are they going?
Yeah.
If you run them off from here, where are they going?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's a horrible
Well,
situation.
and we've always said on this show, Chief, and anytime that you've tuned in and listened and heard some of the stuff that we say, we try to help everybody out in the community. And I can guarantee you, if Randolph Denny was to call Roger right now and said, hey, can one of us give this guy a ride over to Gainesville? I am sure one of us or two of us would take this guy right over there because that's what we do.
Absolutely.
Because like you said, we have love for each other here in this community. I don't think, Chief, I've ever been to a place, and just real quick, that the love is here. You know what I mean? I mean, when somebody passes away, it doesn't matter who it is. It's just there's just such a bond, and even when some things are going on, I just see the love here.
And poor old Lee Sparks, you know.
Yeah, that's what we're
He was a
demeaning
sport.
him.
Now me and him didn't agree with much,
No,
but now Lee was tough. Now
yeah, he was.
tough. You know,
Yes, he was.
so sudden, but
Yeah.
you still love the family, pray for the family, and
Yeah.
try to take care of the family.
And you're
That's
right.
what it's all about here.
Well, that's the good thing about this community is they put away their beliefs and what they believe in or what they practice,
Yep.
and they see people for people,
Yep.
not what book they stand behind.
And that's why
You
I'm
know,
not going from this place anywhere.
You've gotta,
So this is-
love's got to be in your heart. You know,
Yeah.
if love's not in your heart, then
Yeah.
you know,
You're
we're
right.
still looking.
You're right. I never had luxury to go hunt or fishing because my dad had to work. Unfortunately, Noah, that sometimes that happens, and you know,
He's trying to provide.
Trying
Trying to
something. Yeah,
It's
it's a tough two-way street there. I mean,
We're
you got
dealt tough cards.
Cards, yeah.
yes.
Not my kid. Rather fish, ride bites. He's got an Xbox gathering dust.
Oh,
Good,
Oh,
good, Sarge. I wish my yes.
Yeah, I wish mine was
Absolutely.
doing that.
Tired of laws punishing law-abiding citizens.
Tough.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you got laws that are to keep people in line and to keep people straight of what to do and what not can do. But if a person is not going to obey the law, it's not going to restrict him. He's not. If you suspend John Doe's license and tell him your license are suspended and he wants to drive and he don't care about the consequences, what's he going to do? He's going to get in that car and he's going to drive.
Yeah.
We have that. We
You
have
know?
a lot of that around here,
Well,
don't we?
You know, it happens. It happens. They don't care for the consequences.
Right, they do it anyway.
And they're going to
Yeah.
do it.
That's right.
How about juveniles? Like if you had at night time you walking, they often ask you for your ID. If you don't have your ID, give you a fake name or fake date of birth. What do officers do? Take them to jail or what? Like,
Well, he has to provide us enough information, and if he don't have an ID, we can book him on that information that he's given us. But once you live scan him here at the jail, it's going to tell us who he is.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that's just another charge. If he would go ahead and tell us who he was, or he or she
Right.
would tell us who he was, then he's. You see it on the cop shows all the time. If they would just do the right thing,
take the
I mean,
You know.
and it's all. I've always believed that it's always about having a level head in a situation.
Yeah.
I've been pulled over, stopped by the police, followed by the police more times than I probably want to mention. I got pulled over this morning on my way back from Tallahassee.
Right.
Now, mind you, I was doing 20 miles over the speed limit on I-10. I was
But
doing
you're truthful.
89 and
Okay.
70,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's completely beside the point. I was tired. I was ready to get home. It's a long week. But yes, I can be mad that I was the one car that was pulled over for going 89 and a 70 when every other car around me was
blistering past you. Yeah.
And I can be so mad that he was that I was the one that was caught. Or I can think about it, okay, well, if you do the research and if you look at how many vehicles got into accidents, not from being distracted, not from being under the influence, but from just speeding
just from speed.
and losing control of your car,
Mhm.
or someone accidentally cut you off.
Right.
If you just look at that, if your mind doesn't go to, well, you know what, it is what it is.
And we can discuss this a lot, but let me just do the right thing.
There you go.
Right.
You know what the right decision is. We're sitting here debating it and
follow the
talking
law.
different laws, different
Right.
thing. Deep in your heart, you know the right thing.
Right. Be responsible.
I'm not
for
perfect. I don't make good decisions sometimes. I'm
Me
not
neither.
perfect. I'm a sinner saved by grace.
Right.
Let me
Amen.
explain something to you. It just make the right decision. Everybody says, well, if I make the right decision, I still get punished. That's not why you made the right decision. You made the right decision because it's the right
Right
decision.
thing to do.
Right.
Exactly.
All right, and we'll go through some of these real quick. Cindy, yeah, I know some 30-year-old adolescents too that shouldn't carry. That's for sure. Older than that, we can call some 40-year-old adolescents if you want, Chief. I'll tell you that.
I got
Dwight Allen says, I work in Duval, and which we know he does, and crime is horrible. Shootings all the time there. Yeah, unfortunately. I called 211 like y'all said, but that wasn't much help.
Talking about Scooter.
Scooter. Archie, we'll get into that a little bit. We'll see what we can do to research that. I promise you, Archie, we're going to try to help out. I blame the ones that abuse the law. Absolutely. Good people do make bad decisions sometimes, and they shouldn't have to pay for it the rest of their lives. People do grow up.
Yes.
So, I agree. Dwight Allen said, "You nailed it, Chief. They don't understand reality."
Thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah, thank you, brother. I did have an opportunity to fire a gun through the 4-H. Well,
I love that.
4-H has a firearms program?
They used to.
Not no more.
I don't.
Didn't they used to have one?
did they used to have one?
No.
John, do you know?
I know Boy Scouts did.
Huh?
What?
That's long ago.
It's had
Was it?
been long.
Was
Okay, yeah,
I
all
know
right.
Boy Scouts.
Boy Scout.
We're doing it.
Yeah. I don't. Okay.
Who is that? Noah?
So that was Noah. I don't know how old is Noah.
He's in his 20s, I believe.
Okay, so exactly, Byron. Respect can save your life. 18 today is not the 18 of yesteryear. Agree with that. Yep, agreed. Jimmy Sparks, thank you, man, for joining us. Noah, Kevin, yep. Let's see. Yeah, just bringing out some years there. The shuttle, what you were saying, the Challenger. So anyway, glad that y'all all could make it on there. We got a lot of comments to get through. The chief has been gracious with his time, and we want to thank him. Chief, I want you to stick around just for the rest of this Q&D that I should have done earlier, but we got so involved here. Yeah, now the late and dirty, the L&D. So
You know, my wife's gonna say it was my fault.
yeah, no, I'll take blame. I
I'm the one
promise.
that likes to talk.
I promise. I'll take
Hey,
blame.
we all like to talk. That's why
Yeah,
we're on.
that's why we're on here.
So-
Something that's new to you. What did you want to say?
Yeah, I do. Sarge is talking about something called a slippery slope, and he's absolutely right about that.
Oh yeah, true. But how will they ever be? What happens when a 21-year-old breaks a law, raise the age to 26?
I mean, there's a valid argument there between the 18 and 21, 19.
Yeah.
There's a valid argument there, but you know, you have to set down which age is going to be the safest. And I believe.
Yep.
Now he may have valid points at 18. I just believe 21 is the safest age to be able to carry a gun.
Now, the
Right.
state of Florida still makes you take the hunter safety course
Yes.
before you can get your license. And go ahead and let everybody know, if you take that course, you can use that certificate to go get your concealed carry.
Yes.
To get your license,
Your concealed
Concealed
carry.
carry.
which license are you talking about? You talking
Your
about
hunting license. You have to go to the hunter safety
course, though.
Right.
unless you
Yeah.
were born before like 1970.
Right. Right.
Five.
I think it's 75.
It's 70,
I believe.
76.
Oh, no,
I
it's
think it was
99,
76,
something
because
like that.
I didn't have to do it, but I went ahead and
I
I
didn't
done the course when I was young, and I still have the certificate.
FWC.
All righty. Paul McDavid, thank you for joining us. Something about the third grade. Joe Clark, thank you. Keep going there. Let's see. I just want to thank all you guys for joining. Bad parenting equals bad children.
Well, not all. I agree.
Yeah.
Parents need to be parents today.
Yes, they do.
Right.
I mean,
Love you, bro.
I'm going to say
Yeah,
that
me too.
That's a perfect compliment.
parents
I love you, bro.
parents are need. I don't care if you're a mama, a daddy, an aunt, a grandpa, a cousin, a friend, whoever, whatever child you're taking care of, you're a parent to that child.
That's right.
You've got to be a parent.
I want to tell you, I told you we have a lot of people regionally. I'm sorry, Byron.
And kids are going to be dumb. Kids are going to do dumb things.
Yes, they are.
Kids.
Oh, they're kids.
Yeah.
Kids. You're going to get
how
kids
you
doing
teach
dumb
them.
things, no matter how good the parents are. But there's a line.
But if
It's
you don't
past
help them,
dumb.
yeah, you don't help. If you're the parent and you don't help them get smarter from a mistake,
Right.
then they're not going to be any smarter.
Right.
Right.
That's
It's like
exactly
we've said
right.
before on the show.
Right.
The only way to learn is to make mistakes.
Mhm.
You make mistakes, you learn from them, and you go on, and you don't repeat those.
I promise you, when I went to
mistakes.
the police academy, I made my mistake.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
Sure,
promise
excuse me.
you.
I told you that this show's regional, right? So look at this next one for Brittany Hurst there. I'm not even sure who she is, but she's one of our
Brittany
followers
Hurst.
right there. She says, "Howdy, police officer. I'm from Alabama."
Hey.
It's a
Hey.
boy.
Oh, Britain?
Britain.
Oh, it's Britain
It's
Hurst.
one of my friends.
I hunt in Alabama, just south of Tuscaloosa, in the Okmulgee Wildlife Management Area. Just
Well,
south
there
of
you
Tuscaloosa.
go.
I'm not sure where she's from in Alabama, but
Serving
He's
UCH
near,
kids.
Birmingham.
Sorry, underage. Yep. What else we got there, Dave? Anyway, let's go on to some quick and dirty right here, late and dirty. I know this is something near and dear to your heart right here.
Absolutely.
The BHS football banquet will be held Tuesday, February 4th. Dinner will begin at 6 p.m. in the BHS cafeteria before moving to the BHS auditorium for awards. Chief Johnson and the Star Police Department are warning everyone to secure their bicycles after a rash of thefts the past several days. Officers have been investigating a number of thefts and are reminding everyone to take appropriate steps to assure that all bikes and other items are secured. That's a big rash going on, huh, Chief?
And we had several vehicles stolen, unlocked with keys in them. Take your keys out and lock the vehicle. And do not leave weapons, jewelry, purses.
Money.
Please take it inside with you.
Right.
Please
Do
take
not-
it inside
Do not
with you.
think that because it's never happened to you before, it won't happen now.
Right. Amen.
It is 2020. People do not care if they haven't been down the road yet. They're going to try.
Okay. I'm 57. Oh, God. I couldn't quite get that quite age. Yeah.
Trying your thing
Anyway,
over there.
I stop at the same store. I talk to Byron sometimes. I've talked to John. I've talked to Mitchell. I stop by the same store each and every afternoon, about the same time, same place. Do you know what I do, gentlemen? I get out of my car because, well, nope. Let me tell you what I do. Because it's 80 degrees outside, right? So what does Dave want? He loves that air conditioning, doesn't he? So guess what I do? Leave it running. I leave it running. There's something else in there. And anyway, you know what I'm saying?
You know you can lock it.
Yes, I
With an
can.
extra key.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
It's called
And
a
you're
valet
right.
key.
It's called the valet key that David doesn't have right now, but that he's going to get. But just what they were just saying, because I do it, and John just said, I do it so much that I don't think it's ever going to happen. And I'm going to be right in that store, and one day somebody's going to come shooting right through there. That dadgum car is running.
And you'll be calling me.
I'll be calling you. Yeah. Hey.
I'm sure that you'll agree with me. And
So
I've
that
taken
happens.
a lot of those. When that rash was happening, I was on a 3-day street
Mhm.
work, so I took a lot of those phone calls. The biggest thing, like that would be my suggestion. I'm sure you'll agree, is take a little sticky note or something.
Yep.
And write down information about your car,
Right.
your
Right.
tag number,
Mhm.
any stickers you've got on it, because in the moment you can forget a lot of little details.
You can.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
if you take a sticky note, write your tag. That's what I've got. I've got a sticky note.
I
with my
think we
tag
just
number,
recovered our last one up
stickers.
in Jacksonville, I believe.
Did you?
I believe the last one.
Good.
What was so funny, I work at the state attorney's office, and I came in there one morning to work, and a vehicle's on a one-way street pointing the wrong way. It's a pickup truck. And I'm like, that's kind of strange that truck's like that. I said, after we get parked, no one's going to be able to use this road. I said, it's just very unusual. So I picked up the phone, called GPD. I said, hey, I got a pickup truck sitting out here by the state attorney's office. It's faced the wrong way, sitting up on the sidewalk. She come out and looked at it. She says, you just found somebody's vehicle that was stolen over in Stark.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Well, that's a good thing.
We had 4 or
That's a
5
good-
stole right there in a group there.
Yeah.
But I think we've recovered all of them.
Good. All right, and here's Austin with your latest and greatest weather report. Find Austin's weather service on Facebook. Send in your zip code and get a detailed forecast just for you. Austin, come on in and give us that weather forecast, young man. Tell everybody good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight, temperatures will fall. Sorry.
You're fine. You come on.
Temperatures.
Come on. You're fine.
Yeah, come on in here.
Okay, so tonight, temperatures will fall down 37 to 42, and tomorrow, temperatures will rise back up to 64 to 69. Watch out for some smoke in the area tonight as there was controlled burns. Visibility may be dropped down to 2 miles with some fog possibility as water droplets will connect with the ashes that were previously from the wildfires over in Camp Landing. A roller coaster of temperatures will continue with rain patterns coming across the southeast region. I will put comments with the latest forecast for our local areas that we serve for On the Spot with David Rodgers as soon as possible. Stay tuned.
All right, thank you, Austin. That's a very good weather report there. If you want the latest and greatest weather report, find Austin's weather service on Facebook. Send in your zip code and get a detailed forecast just for you. Austin, thank you for that great report. We really appreciate that.
Oh, anytime.
Thank you. Also, Chief, I want to thank you. I know there's a couple of comments coming here, and we'll get to those here. I believe I'm watching Pumpkin all the way from Lauderdale. Tell him it's okay to sit down. Udi, of course. Hey, we took care of your yard, by the way, brother. So it looks good. We got to take care of Amy's tomorrow, though. So want to let you know that. I'm glad you're on. So we will have a place on the 3rd when he gets his SSI. If you're gonna, he says, if I drive, are you gonna put me in jail again? No. Well, you don't have a license. Let us drive. We'll take him if we have to. Randy Brooks, Brady Rayburg, you know.
Right.
So they're on tonight. If you open our community up to cater to the homeless, we will end up like Gainesville.
It's tough.
Well,
I'm telling you, that is one of the
that's
toughest.
tough.
Because you're going to start track.
It's tough here.
Yeah.
That is a tough situation.
It is.
You were talking about 39th, Chief, 39th Ave over there.
Yeah.
I've known it as Tent City. Is that what y'all know it as?
Yeah.
It's Tent City, and there's a bunch of them out there. I hear there's thousands of them out there.
You know why they live in the
So-
tents?
So why's that?
Because they won't abide by the rules to live inside.
Oh, okay. I got you.
I was
Okay.
about to say that.
Yeah.
That is the reason why.
That's why they
Okay.
call it Tent City.
City?
That's it.
Okay, good. So there you go. So anyway, we'll talk about that. Chief just said it. He's right. Lee was a great man. They butted heads a couple of times. We all do so, but we all love each other at the end of the day. So, Chief, any parting words before I let you go here? And I just want to thank you for coming on. It's been a great show. We've had a lot of comments. We've had a lot of people on from all over, and they were interested in what you had to say. And again, I just want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for you coming on to our show, and we would love to have you again.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity. It winds up, y'all are on Tuesday night. So
Yeah.
the 1st and 3rd Tuesday of every month, I'm at City Council down
That's
there.
right.
Yes.
They want to see me down there. So that's
Right.
where I'm at. So we just have to do some scheduling stuff. Be glad to come back and discuss some things.
How about on a Saturday? Saturdays, how about, I know Saturdays probably like to spend
As long
time
as
with
the
your
wife's
family.
not making me work.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I could say I've got something to do and then I
Okay.
wouldn't have to work.
There you go. So you just tell her maybe we'll schedule you a couple of Saturdays from now, and you ain't got to work.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure,
All
that
right.
sounds good. Oh, commercial chamber mixer Saturday.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Chamber mixer Saturday.
Mhm. Yes. That ought to be a
Look forward
great
to seeing
event.
A bunch of people. Always a great event.
Yep.
I've donated something. I ain't gonna tell you what it is. You're gonna have to come to see what it is. But I've donated something for the silent auction they always do for the
For the
Bradford
Education
Educational
Foundation.
yeah.
Do they,
And
do they
does it
still
go
need
by?
items?
So
Do they still need
I
items?
believe
Well,
they'll take items.
I
Yes,
believe
sir.
they will.
Well,
Yes,
I'll
sir.
see what I can dig
It
out
was
of the-
Cheryl, Lila Seller,
Okay.
Who there was
group
one
of ladies.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I know that Shelley's donating some of those books that she's made. They've asked her to
Yes.
do that and stuff.
Yes.
So, yeah, there's going to be quite a bit of stuff over
But
there.
I'm
So
sure
it's
they'll
great.
always make room for a donated item.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll see what I've got.
I mean,
I
call
got a lot of
Cheryl
sports
or
mail
get with
going.
Cheryl, or Cheryl and Lila's is usually who I'm talking to and donating.
Okay.
And then they need it by Friday afternoon, Friday sometime to set up to make sure they can get the room for it and stuff like that.
All right.
So absolutely, this sounds great. We were going to go this year, but we're going to do the show, Chief. So maybe while you're at the at the chamber mission, say, hey, David Rodgers, them guys are on the air right there, man. Hey, talking about us and seeing what's
We
going
can
on.
make some
We're-
comments.
We can make some comments. Yeah, we're actually going to preview the Super Bowl. I'm
Okay.
gonna break that Super Bowl down for everybody and everything. We're gonna preview that. We're gonna go over some local stuff. Gonna hit a couple of little national news topics.
Who
Maybe
wins?
you can tell me. I'll say the 49ers defensive. I like the defense. I like defense winning.
As I said, they're a dumpster.
Yeah.
As I said, this is going to be a dumpster fire.
Oh boy, see, but anyway, whatever. So anyway, yeah.
Well, thank you
thank
for
you.
having me.
Jeff, thank
Appreciate
you.
being here.
Chief, thank you.
guys.
Chief Jeff Johnson,
Good to
ladies
see
and
y'all
gentlemen,
again.
joining us.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you again,
Appreciate you.
man. What a great
Great,
show,
great
my
show.
God. Great show so far. Great guest right there.
Just to let you know, you had people all the way from Oklahoma watching it too.
Oh, Oklahoma, really?
Yep.
Oklahoma, Mississippi, Alabama. My goodness, I'm telling you right now. We are-
Joni Sandiford is on here.
Joey, where's he at?
Joni.
Joni, where's she at?
She is one of the people that own the place that I go up and hunt at every year.
Joni, hello there. How are you? Glad that you can join in on the spot with David Rodgers. I would love, can I just go ahead and throw my little name out there? I would love, just my little name out there, I would love to go hunt with these guys at some point. I don't care if it's 3 years down the road. I would love to do that. So that Byron tells me that he has a great time up there. You've got a great facility. Please send us your information. Love to have you as a sponsor right here on the spot with David Rodgers down here in Florida.
Yeah.
So, hey, maybe we can set that up. So thank you, Joni, for joining us. All right, Mitchell.
You want me to go really fast?
Well, we've got a little time here.
Right.
We're still in the 8:20 hour. We're okay. If we don't get to sports, I'm going to break the Super Bowl down for everybody on Saturday. We'll make that the main. Let's call it Super Bowl preview Saturday.
Okay.
And we'll break all that down. How about that?
And I'll try to go through this as quick as possible so we can get some feedback from Byron on the impeachment and what's going on with that.
Right.
And I promise I will not be as long-winded tonight because I don't really have that much to say about this that hasn't been said last night and the night before by a certain constitutional scholar and attorney for the president.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you about some upcoming events. This Saturday in Lake Butler is the Winter Invitation. It's a drag racing boat event. The location is 155 Northwest 3rd Street in Lake Butler, Florida. The zip is 32064. The event is free for spectators, and the times are from 11 to 3 p.m. Another event that's coming up this Saturday is at the Bradford High School. Is the Dallas Brass. This starts at 7 p.m. at the high school located on 581 North Temple Avenue in Stark, Florida.
If you like music,
yeah.
if you really ought to go hear these guys play, they're really good. I mean, really good.
Byron, we may ought to do that before we come to the show, and we can talk a little bit about that before we get here.
You wouldn't get an argument
Out of me, yeah.
at all.
So, hey, that may not be a bad deal.
These guys are
Yeah.
spectacular.
Get into something else that's coming up later in February 22nd.
Actually,
Is
we'll be
Bella
here.
Oaks Bluegrass Festival that is going to be located at 11800 Southwest 157th Lane in Brooker, Florida. The admission is $20, but kids 12 and under are free. They're going to have some groups like Jim Hurst Trio, Gospel Hour by the Backwood Boys, Medicine Springs.
Which was there the last time.
That was there the
So
last
they were
time.
there
And
last
Trinity River Band will be performing.
And, we're going to be there doing our show live, and
That's
it's
right.
going to be a special start time because it's from 11 to 5. So we'll probably do a show from 2 to 4 or something like that, maybe just in between
Sure.
whatever the Roberts would like for us to do. But they want us out there. So on the spot,
certainly.
we'll be out there for this Bluegrass Festival. So
Most
catch us there, especially if you're out of town and you can't make it. Hey, what a perfect way to pick it up then right here.
Definitely. And then on February 29th is the Bradford County Relay for Life car show that will be held at the Florida Cracker Restaurant.
Right here.
It's $15 to enter a vehicle. I want to give a shout out to some of our sponsors. Right now, it looks like we're going to have Murray Auto Group as one of our sponsors for our awards. I'm still working out some details on that. We also have sponsors with Jags, Haggerty Insurance, Pro Charger, and a couple others to come.
Right.
We'll be having door prizes from those sponsors. We'll have T-shirts and hats, autographed pictures from NHRA drivers, just a whole lot of stuff, and a 50-50 drawing.
Wow.
And then, hey, where better else to have it but at a restaurant that you can eat breakfast and lunch.
A good
Yeah,
breakfast, by the
that's
way.
right.
Ooh, some of their
So-
omelets are fantastic. We need to go over there and eat one more, man.
So you can
Saturday
actually,
morning may be a good time.
Right.
As long as they don't have me running around, we'll be
That's
good.
true. Yeah, we can do that.
so you can actually find our event page or the Facebook page. It's underneath the 9th annual Relay for Life car show.
Right.
And I'm also going to talk to the owners of the restaurant and see if I can also get their menu so I can post them up on both of those sites
Right.
for people to see what they offer. To get into some news, Ocala police officers are looking for a missing teen. Her name is Mackenzie Ham. She has been missing for now over 20 days.
Is this the 16-year-old?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
So hopefully after we get finished with this tonight or tomorrow, we'll post her picture up on the spot so y'all can see what she looks like. And if you do see her, please call law enforcement there in Ocala. or even if you can't get a hold of them, call your local. Call up here to Gordon Smith or Chief Johnson, and report it to them. And she does have blonde hair, but it does say in the comments that she may have dyed it. Miami. We'll get down to Miami after a 7.7 earthquake between Cuba and Jamaica. It was so powerful that most of the people there in Miami, they felt the buildings move. That's a pretty strong earthquake to feel it that far away.
Yeah.
We know that whole area down there has been active over the past 2 months.
Right.
It's definitely with Puerto Rico and what they have been dealing with. So let's keep those people in our prayers. Get to another story that happened in North Carolina, and this lady used to live right here in Bradford County. Her name is Jennifer Hansen, and
Really?
what had happened was she got a package delivered at her doorstep, and it had her granddaughter's name on it, but her granddaughter's name was spelled wrong. And the package originated and came from one of the cities that are being over in China that is under quarantine. So she called several people in her family and said, hey, did y'all send me this package? And all the replies came back no. So she took it upon herself to call law enforcement because something did not seem right, to have them come out and grab that package and see what it was all about. It was deemed safe after they all looked at it and it was investigated, and it was returned back to the United Parcel Service investigations service to find out how in the world that package even got there. We all know that China's under quarantine a lot of areas for the coronavirus.
Yeah.
So I think she took the right steps.
Sure she
I
did.
would have done the
Yeah.
same thing. So I'm putting out
Sure
there,
she did.
if you come home and you see a suspicious package on your doorstep
Call law.
that you didn't order and it just doesn't seem right,
Call the
go ahead
authorities.
and call, because it's better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah, and the customs, U.S. Customs is really getting into a lot of this. I heard that they're ramping up and
Sure.
even protecting themselves as they inspect all kinds of packages. They're inspecting, pretty much everything that's coming through right now. Of course, all that's under the Department of Homeland Security. Everything that we do now is pretty much Department of Homeland Security. And if y'all don't know who the head of the Department of Homeland Security is, let me just go ahead and tell you. It's the guy that y'all are trying to impeach, Mr. Donald Trump, our president there. So he's the head of all this because he's the executive officer of this great country that we live in. So don't let that fool you. Yes, we have different heads for different departments, but he's the overall guru. He's the man.
Right.
He's the guy with the power.
Everything from the executive branch, everything dealing
And
with
then
Yes.
I
from the
got a
executive
very,
branch.
very sad story to say, and I believe this incident did happen in Ocala as well, where a 5-year-old kid stabbed his sister several times. I think the child's doing a whole lot better as of late.
And they charged him with attempted murder.
That's right, because he even said that he wanted her dead,
Dead.
and he had planned for this to happen.
Yeah.
Very, very sad thing for that to happen for a 5-year-old. And all you can do is send out prayers, and maybe he'll get touched in some kind of way and change him. I know they'll probably have him sit down with some psychiatrists and see what's going on inside of his brain.
That child
But
has ruined his
overall,
life.
A
Yes, he
very,
has.
very sad situation.
And that family, to try to get that family
Right.
bond back with your sister,
That's
just
never
never going to
Right.
happen.
He's ruined his life.
It's
more than
ruined.
one way.
Yes.
And it was his mother.
Yeah,
It was his mother that actually stopped him in the act.
Pulled him off of her.
She ran in there and, like Byron said, pulled him off of her and took the knife away from him.
It's crazy. It's just just an insane story.
Yeah.
Teach your kids, talk to your kids, and especially our young ones, and let them know, this is not like, life is not like a movie. You can't hurt someone and they'll be here the next day. You can't
Right.
kill someone, they be here the next day.
Right.
It's not a video game. It's not a movie. It doesn't happen that way.
Amen.
All right. Thank you, Mitchell, for for that local report. You did an awesome job, just like you always do. If you're just now joining us, thank you for joining us on the spot with David Rodgers. We did have a little bit of a technical difficulty. We got cut off there for about 3 or 4 minutes. We got it back on air. Thank Mr. Dave Holland Jr. filling in for Dave Holland Sr. on that. He got us back up and running real quick. John Pro's been doing a great job. Now, I want to turn it over to our national guy, the guy that's fighting for your freedoms always and your rights, Mr. Byron Bagwell. Thank you for joining us, sir. I know you was in the background back there with Mr. Jeff Johnson, but hey, that was a great segment right there. It's all good. It all ties in. Tell us what you got on the agenda tonight. I know we've talked about a couple of things and a couple of things that are hot and going, but I'm going to let you tell everybody what we're going to discuss.
Real quickly, I wanted to talk about distrusting the media and what they should be doing and what they shouldn't be doing. And I'm going to use an example that happened with TMZ.
Oh, yeah, we talked about it.
Yes, we did talk a little bit about this. TMZ released the information about Kobe Bryant's death and his daughter's death on the news before Kobe Bryant's wife was informed, which is illegal, by the way. And now California is going after them, which they well should.
Yes, they should.
Technically,
The media is not your friend, and then they like to twist stuff up. And I know we're part of the media, but in general, they're not your friend. The other case in point that I'm going to make about that today is CNN. We talk about CNN every once in a while, and we play games with it. I watched a video today of Don Lemon and his guests basically insulting about somewhere between 55 and 56% of this country on national TV. No, sir, we're not all illiterate. What you should do is you should be worried about your ratings. But you're not going to be. You know why? Because you're a propaganda machine and you owe your allegiance to the left. Because any TV show, any TV news program that had ratings as low as you've had for the last, I don't know how many years, would have been taken out of business by any smart businessman. But the reason you're not taken out of business is because the people that fund you want you to do what you're doing. And it's not right. Because guess what? We're not all illiterate rednecks. And that term I take offense to tell you the honest truth, because the original term redneck was used by slave owners to describe white slaves.
Yeah.
So I take offense at that term too. CNN is a joke. And Don Lemon is a registered communist, by the way. So be careful what you allow your kids and what you watch, because not all of these people are your friends or are trying to inform you about what's really going on in the news. I wanted to say a little bit about that. I wanted to also say a little bit about what's going on with the impeachment. We now are talking about witnesses. And the media, including Fox News and everybody else, are saying they're going to call all these witnesses. The answer is no, they're not. Know why? Because we're going to be into this for another 4 or 5 months, 6 months, until the Supreme Court can decide the case. Because guess what? Executive privilege doesn't just exist on the Congress side. It exists, period, in our government. So if Donald Trump goes, I'm exerting executive privilege again, and these people that were in my cabinet are not going to do any testifying at all, guess who has to settle that? The courts have to settle that. Mm-hmm. And this time there's nowhere to take the impeachment from here. So there's not going to be any testimony, because if I was Donald Trump, I would tell my lawyers I'm going to exert it again.
Right.
And then what's going to happen is all of these senators are going to be in a position where they have to do something now, because this can't keep on going on for 6 months. You have Democrat Party members who are senators who are running for the Democrat nomination who are going to miss the whole entire thing, and that's not going to happen. Something is going to happen with this besides that. Just to let you know what was going on. I was very privileged also to watch a certain gentleman who is a liberal Democrat. He's also a constitutional scholar.
We was watching that last night, wasn't we,
We were
Bryant?
watching part of it last night.
Yeah.
Who is on the Donald Trump's defense team. The man basically has validated a lot of things that I've been saying on this program about what's going on with impeachment. He is a very, very brilliant man. I'm not going to go into all what Alan Dershowitz said, but if you really want some more information about what is going on with the impeachment and why it should not continue and why it's illegal in the first place for this to be going on and why we do not need to be doing this with witnesses as far as executive privilege goes, because the Congress is violating their powers by doing what they're doing right now with that. You need to go back and you need to listen to Alan Dershowitz's defense both yesterday and Saturday, because it was blindingly brilliant. He is a very, very brilliant man who is not a conservative at all in his political leanings. He's not. In his policies, he is not a conservative at all. But as far as understanding what our Constitution allows us to do and what our Constitution doesn't allow us to do, the man is blindingly brilliant. He was a Harvard law professor to start off with in constitutional law.
Let's just say he broke it down in their face.
Oh, it was, I'm telling you, literally.
He broke it down to where I understood it.
Literally taking parts of the Federalist Papers. Thank you. I couldn't remember the name of that. And using those and using court cases being cited from the time that this country was founded and law terms that that our founders used to make up what we are seeing now about impeachment. It was just absolutely blindingly brilliant. And if you have the least bit of interest in understanding why this should not be going on, not just from a right and a left standpoint, but from a constitutional standpoint, so we don't destroy our system of government, you really need to listen to Alan Dershowitz, because he is a brilliant man. I mean, just a brilliant man. No, Noah, rednecks are used. You're confused. The original term come from Irish slave owners. That's what they called their Irish slaves after they, because people with light white skin, when they stay out in the sun all day, they turn red. That's the back of their necks, turning red necks. That's where the term actually comes from. But that's so far removed, but it's offensive to people who understand our history. So I guess I'm one of the few that still understands that. Alan Dershowitz is worth the watch. I'm sure all of it's out on YouTube. Mr. David Rodgers, are you all right?
Good. Just a little sinus.
Oh, got the sinus thing going on. I think everybody's got it going on. I really want to kind of end it there, David. I want to see what more they're going to do, but just a fair warning, if Donald Trump claims executive privilege again, this could drag out for half a year, because at that point, it's got to go through the court system. Chief Justice Roberts can't do a single thing about it. People are going to start saying he can do something about it. Chief Justice Roberts can't do anything about it. It has to go through a series of court hearings. Now, they can request that the Supreme Court hear it, and it will get through faster, but you're still talking about, 5 weeks, 2 months, something like that. So this is not going to happen, guys, because I'm telling you, he is going to call that. And the Supreme Court is going to look at case history, and they're going to say, no, you cannot have access to those witnesses. Destroying executive privilege is horrible for this country, because what happens is those advisors and cabinet members are a president's, basically they're his advisors. So what happens is they bounce ideas off of each other. And you may catch somebody in a heated moment
and they're going, that person needs to be canned. They have no place here at all. Fire them now. Blankety, 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 blank. Well, the advisor sits back and goes, Mr. President, I really think you might want to step back for a second and think about this again in a different manner. And let's figure out what we need to do with them. We may agree that these people need to be fired, but we need to talk about this and see what other avenues we can do to get this person to where they are. When you start getting a person's testimony in a court and somebody finds out about the blankety, 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 and doesn't continue on with the rest of what the person has actually said to the president, and you're going to get a completely different story that the media is going to spin and the other side is going to spin, and there is not going to be a president ever again that is going to go, I want somebody as an advisor. I'll just keep this all to myself. And I'll just do whatever I want. It doesn't matter whether they understand national politics as well as they understand global geopolitical politics, foreign policy, any of it, judiciary politics, any of that. The president is going to be very hesitant to ask anybody for advice if this continues to happen. And it doesn't matter which president it is or which side it is. Barack Obama used it all the time. As a matter of fact, he used it during the Fast and Furious investigation, which, if you don't remember, was the government sold basically a bunch of guns to the drug cartels. They were supposed to be chipped so they could be traced, but they weren't. For some reason, they weren't. And it caused the deaths of a lot of Mexican citizens.
Yes, it did.
Some American citizens and some of our Border Patrol agents.
Right.
So the Republicans tried to get testimony out of one of Obama's cabinet.
Right.
And he exerted executive privilege, and the courts backed him up. So they never got the testimony out of him about that. They actually charged him with a couple of things, which was ridiculous, which I think is what led the Democrat Party to do this. But you can't do it. And it doesn't matter whether you understand and you know what's going on and you can prove what's going on or anything else. You can't make these people testify because those are the president's personal confidence. And I mean, I am sorry. Donald Trump acts up like a person acts up, period, when things like this go on. I'm sorry. You try to railroad me and I'm talking to my friends and the people that advise me. I'm going to get myself in trouble with what I say because it's not going to be nice. It's not meant for the public. So we need to, as a country, we need to understand that this can't continue on, and that's what's going to continue on if he's impeached, because they're going to impeach him for obstruction of Congress, which is all about executive privilege, every single bit of it. I did a decent job of describing that. If you want to hear a better one, I'm telling you, go listen to Alan Dershowitz, because he does it a lot more eloquently than I do, and he's got examples that he pulls up from court cases and all sort of things. It was just fantastic last night, Saturday.
It was.
Really was.
And thank you, Byron, for that segment. It was really good. You brought out some great information. I want to apologize to our viewers. I had to step out for just a moment. Sinuses are draining rapidly on me, and it caused a bad tickle in my throat there. I had to leave there. I'm glad you gentlemen stepped in. Again, getting ready to close the show out here. We've got a couple of, what is that? Okay.
You're not sick, are you?
No. I said sinus. So we got the sports section. Roger Cruz, step right here with us right here. And tell us what you got on the sports, Roger.
I looked up LeBron James. No,
Kobe Bryant, okay.
Yes, I found a good thing about him.
Okay. Just give it to us in a few words, just in a little bit of a breakdown. Now, that's a long article there.
That 3 pages long.
53 pages long. An article on Kobe Bryant, 53 pages long, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure.
I not know he he 18, he get drafted by Charlotte Hornets.
Correct. Yes, he did. You're
The
exactly
same-
right.
the same now, Hornets sent him to the Lakers.
Correct. That's correct.
Him and Shot make the one for the championship.
Yep.
The Lakers sent Shot to Miami. Toby not know it. Toby said, hey, what happened to my teammate? The Lakers on the I sent him to Miami for 2 draft picks. Toby still out. It's not happening. What? Now NBA do like the both. I watch the NBA game, all the NBA game.
Right.
The team shot the 24 clock.
24-second clock in memory of Kobe Bryant.
And NBA said the larger to him, not
Right.
a man shoot just Kobe. And NBA larger now have Kobe on that. Now.
Right. What Roger's trying to say, ladies and gentlemen, Roger, that's a great report. And Roger chose to do that on his report because if you have been living under a rock the last, Kobe Bryant passed in yes, and 7 others as well that were all going to the same tournament. They was going to a basketball tournament that all their young girls that were going to be playing.
You know, the first time I saw Kobe Bryant was, and it's going to shock some people. I started thinking about this because I saw an interview about this morning.
Right.
I saw Kobe Bryant at a 76ers game when I was about 7 years old.
Is that right?
He was with his grandparents and he was an infant. His father
his father played with Dr. J, right?
He sure did. He played.
Yeah, he played with the doc.
Did they call him Jelly Bean? Is that
I
right?
think they did.
Jelly Bean
Jim Bryant.
or
something.
Something Bean Bryant. Something like that.
Yeah.
His father was an NBA player.
That was the Daryl Dawkins days. That was the Julius Irving. That
Julius
was Bryant.
Yep.
Yeah, that was Dr. J.
Yep.
So yeah, he did play with him.
And he started saying that, and I was like, I cannot remember that.
He went to Lower Merion High School, I believe,
Yes.
right? Lower Merion High School.
And
I just wanted to let Noah know something real quick.
Okay.
You're talking about indentured servants. A lot of the laws in this country were set up to where the indentured servant's term of indenture was permanent. They called them indentured servants, but they were really slaves. That's the one misnomer about indentured servitude in this country. A lot of places in this country didn't have an expiration date on indenture.
Right.
Just to let you know.
you know you played electric for Tony Wills.
Yes, he did.
The first wheel, 1966 to 97,
Yep.
97 through 98, 98, 99, 99, 2000,
And all the way up through this
2000, 2001, 2002.
and so on and so forth, right? You could read off all the years to 2022. Yeah.
To 2000, 2015 to 2014 to 2015.
All right.
He retired in 2015.
15. Yep.
And how many jersey numbers did he have?
8, my football number in high school. I remember that one.
Yeah.
And 24.
That's correct.
That is correct.
8.
So,
I
all right.
know my basketball.
Yes, you do. Roger, thank you for that report. Again, our condolences and our prayers go out to the Bryant family and everybody else that was on that helicopter. That was a horrendous thing that happened Sunday. There was a great legendary baseball coach that we'll get into on Saturday night as well. There was a couple of other
He
parents
was a
on there.
baseball player too.
Yes, he was, by the way, and a good one. So,
Breaking news: a
Yeah.
tsunami warning has been posted for
Ah.
Jamaica.
just talking about that. How about that? A tsunami warning been posted for where?
Jamaica, and
Jamaica and
and the
Cuba.
Cayman Islands.
Cuba and the Cayman Islands.
Yep.
So be prepared. Be prepared. Hey, be on the watch out. So tsunami warning right there for those 3 countries.
Really not good as
That
well as
is
Jamaica
not
is
good.
in some spots.
Yeah, that
Really
no,
not good.
no, it's not.
And I've never talked about this on the show, but if you really want to go to a place in the islands, it's great. Jamaica's it. I've been 3 times or 4
You've been
times.
to Rios too, haven't you?
I've been all over that
Yeah,
island. I'll be all over
Rios
that
too,
island.
man, beautiful. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I want to continue.
You're
Oh,
talking about the falls, aren't you?
yes, I am.
That's Dunn's River.
So, Roger, thank you for the report on Kobe. So I want to get on to a couple of more quick tornado sports reports here. The BMS boys team, the BMS Tornado boys team, won the NEFAC championship. That's the Northeast Florida Athletic Conference Championship. Congratulations, 53-39 over Green Coast Springs. Way to bring that back home. The BHS Lady Tornado basketball team is 14-7 overall. They're 5-1 in district play. Kelton Givens, head coach, is doing a great job. They're playing in Live Oak, playing the Swanee Lady Bulldogs.
Go Big Red.
Go Big Red. Looks like we may have 2 teams going into the playoffs, so that'll be great. The BHS Boy Tornado basketball team is 13-6 overall. They haven't played any league games or district play. They're on a 2-game win streak, beating University Christian 56-50, and they also beat IMG Academy 61-26. That's IMG Academy second team, probably black. Tonight they can extend their winning streak to 3. Let's hope not. If that was their varsity team, that's awesome.
That's really
incredible. Streak to 3 games tonight, and they're playing at 7:30 against Ridgeview. So good luck with that. I'm going to break down some other things as well. We've got baseball coming up, college baseball, college softball's coming up. We got the Super Bowl coming up. We've all made our predictions on that. I'm going to get y'all's prediction on Saturday. I'm going to really break down the Super Bowl. So, John, guys that are here tonight, we're going to call that Super Bowl on the spot, Super Bowl preview Saturday night. That's what we want to call that. So you can tune in. I'll have the breakdown of the Chiefs and the 49ers right along with you guys. And we'll talk other sports as well. College basketball, like I said, in full swing. Spring sports are getting ready to go in full swing. Congratulations to Tiger Woods. Did you see that? Won that tournament by 3 strokes.
No, I didn't.
You know the Tiger Woods fan?
I'm not a golf fan.
You like Tiger?
He's all right.
He's all right. I tell you what.
It's almost like watching soccer.
Well, I'll tell you this. He does make golf better,
tennis, which I absolutely love.
When he's playing good, then that elevates everybody else.
Well, I'll tell you what. If Tiger's not no young guy anymore.
No, he's not.
And it's really nice to see these older gentlemen be able to perform.
Sure.
As just as good and sometimes better as the young ones.
Yep.
You take Tiger Woods. You look at Brady.
Phil Mickelson.
Philip Rivers.
Yep. Look at their ages.
Yep.
And shoot, even in NHRA, we got a guy. He's probably in his 80s.
Yeah.
The Greek.
He
still gets behind the steering wheel and runs a 300-mile-an-hour car. So.
How old is Forrest?
Forrest, I have to look. He's in his
65,
60s.
66.
He's got to be in his 60s.
He's in his 60s.
Yeah, man, I'm going to tell you, they still doing it.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right, gentlemen, it's been a great show. I want to thank Chief Jeff Johnson for coming on, the chief of the Stark Police Department. Want to thank all my staff right here. Also, we want to thank our Sheriff, Gordon Smith, and the entire Sheriff's Office for their hospitality, allowing us access to this awesome venue to bring you this latest and greatest show every week. Special shout-outs are in line for our sports producer and weatherman for taking time out of their busy schedules to bring us the latest and the greatest. On behalf of the entire team, we are on the spot, and AOC is not. How about that? Yeah, well, she isn't. So, well, because she isn't. She is not. There you go. So, guys, thank you. Y'all have a great night.
Closing statements tonight?
Well, real quick.
Okay.
Real quick.
The 2 enemies of the people are criminals and the government. So let us tie the second down with the chains of the Constitution so the second does not become legalized versions of the first. That is a Thomas Jefferson quote. Once again, the 2 enemies of the people are criminals and the government. So let us tie the second down with the chains of the Constitution so the second will not become the legalized version of the first.
Good one. What you got? Real quick, Dawson, on the weather.
Okay. It is now confirmed that light frost will be expected across North Florida and southern Georgia. I have a map going up right now. I will be posted in the comments on this live feed and on the Austin's Weather Service page at facebook.com/Austin's Weather Service.
Thank you, Austin. Roger, real quick. Nothing?
BMS Minnesota basketball team won the NEL.
Just said that. Mm-hmm.
53-39
against
against
Green Cup.
Jacksonville.
Yep.
At Oakleaf.
Yeah, and I know that you did a great piece on that Bryant deal. You want to send condolences to his family as well, right? And everybody.
Can I say something? Like now, I had an NBA Connie, right? The basketball game.
Right.
Like, I think, okay, let me get the Kobe electric recycling it, right?
Right.
I played with Kobe, make me have tears. And I saw him on the court.
Yeah.
He's so 52 punch that now. You dunk, shoot 3 pointers, I think. No,
And now he's gone.
Yeah.
And it's just that quick.
I paid him like that. He go up and down the court perfect. Also,
Right.
the next day.
Yep, that's it. John, real quick.
We will, Sergeant.
All right.
We will let them know.
Yes, Sarge, I will tell. Yes, absolutely. We see them all the time. Dave, anything real quick, man? I want to thank you for stepping in for your dad tonight.
No problem, man.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Any closing comment? You got anything you want to say or anything?
Well, when it comes to the sports, just CTE, brain injuries in football players.
Yep.
Just if you can donate to them, donate to the research.
That's a great point. Great point.
It is.
Mitchell.
Well, I just want to let everybody think about the Second Amendment and also a quote from Hitler. To defeat a country, all you have to do is take away their guns.
That's it. I agree. Yep. All right.
The model's playing out in Virginia, by the way.
Yes, it is. And I don't have really anything except just to hug your loved ones. Go home tonight. You don't know at any time. If you've got any irreconcilable differences, and you need to put the reconcilable differences, there you go. That's the word I wanted. Please try to get it taken care of. If you've got any beef with anybody, try to squash it and be done with it, because you just don't know when you're going to get that chance. You may go to the grave with that, or somebody's going to be up here left and going, man, I wish I could have just told him one time or her one time that I loved him,
last time.
or, I'm sorry for what I did. Just make peace with everybody, because just you've seen this thing that happened with Kobe. It can happen just like that. So on behalf of On the Spot with David Rodgers and our crew, God bless you guys. Have a great night. We'll see you on Super Bowl preview Saturday night, this coming Saturday. Thank you very much. God bless.
Good night, everybody. Irreconcilable, huh?
Do something.
Hey.